until you get to the root cause, which is you. You as the leader set the tone for how good people can be. Be the leader in the trenches and saying, I've been here, I've been through the pain, I've made mistakes, I've made failures, follow me. What's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Lead From Here podcast. My name is Jason. Today we're going to talk about being vulnerable with your people. This sparked from an email that I got where the person was kind of talking me through his current situation as a leader and the things that aren't working in his teams. The one thing that stuck out to me in that email, he had a long list of things saying why his teams were failing, what was wrong with the teams, what he was trying to do as a leader to fix the situation, and then ultimately kind of let me get a little bit of an understanding of why he feels the way he does about certain things. The long and the short of it is that he felt that he needed to be a brave front for his teams and for his company. Ultimately, this person is very high up in his company. He had to keep a very strong front for people. He felt he needed to be the person that you never let him see you sweat, that you never let him know your shortcomings, you never let him know your failures, you never let him know what made you who you are and got you to this place. And you don't need to worry about that. They just need to do their job, and they need to do what you say is right because you're here and you're the leader now, and you've been there before and you've done what they've done before. And that is something that is shared by a lot of people in the leadership space, and that's something that I'm trying to help pivot. There's a lot of other people that have way more of a following that are doing a way better job on that, but I want to continue to share this voice that it's okay to be vulnerable. Like, your people are looking to you to understand what it takes to be a leader. They're looking to you to, yes, guide them, sure, but guide them through everything. Don't just guide them through the business part of it. That's one piece of the puzzle. And if you don't figure out the other pieces, which is who they are as people, what motivates them, what scares them, what their shortcomings are, what their strengths are, if you can't figure that out, you won't have successful teams. You will continue to run into the roadblock of missed deadlines and poor quality and all the frustrations that you laid out in your email. So ultimately, all of those things are byproducts of an unhealthy team. Quality problems, missed deadlines, arguing, unhappiness, bad peer reviews, bad leader reviews, all those things are basically symptoms of a bigger problem. And that is a core issue with your leadership philosophy, in my opinion. When you're vulnerable with your people, when you let them know the mistakes you've made in your career, when you let them know the mistakes you've made as a person, it allows them to see that when they do the same thing, there's still hope on the other side of that. There's still hope to know that, yes, they made a mistake. They can recover and they can still become very high up in a company. Those kind of things are invaluable to people as they're growing, as they're learning. It also makes you look like you're human. It makes them think you actually care about them. Because not only are you telling them your own shortcomings, you're making them feel better about their shortcomings. And, at one point he kind of said, they don't need to know that. And I would actually totally disagree with that. They already know all of your shortcomings. There's a book back there, John Maxwell, The Leader's Greatest Return. And in that book, he talks about a moment where he was speaking and talking about vulnerability and talking about all the things that it's important for leaders to do. And he was in a room full of CEOs, and he could tell he was losing the crowd. So he took a break. He signed some books during that break, and he could tell the person that actually brought him in was really frustrated with him. So after done signing books, he kind of took him aside and said, hey, why are you frustrated with me? He's like, the CEO who brought him in was frustrated with him because he was saying, I totally disagree with you. You cannot let them see you sweat. You cannot let them see your shortcomings. You can't let them know your weaknesses. And John Maxwell said, that's interesting. You're under the delusion that they don't already know that. Of all the business books I've read, that's one of the more impactful stories that I've heard, because it really stuck with me of you can pretend like they don't see it, but if you have shortcomings, which we all do, your people are going to know what those shortcomings are. So trying to pretend like those aren't a thing, trying to pretend like you're this brave front that doesn't do anything wrong, that doesn't work. It flat out doesn't work. You're not invincible. You are human, just like everybody else. And if you don't learn to embrace your humanness and allow those people to embrace their humanness, and you embrace each other, not physically because it's a workplace, but ultimately, if you do those things, you will be able to connect with them on a deeper level, which will make them feel more safe to push beyond their current boundaries. If you don't, you're going to create a place where, like Simon Sinek says, people lie, hide, and fake. You don't want that in any situation in business. ever. I'm getting a little aggressive here, and sorry about that, but this is really something that I think too many leaders still think is a thing, and it's just not. And for the person that emailed me, I really appreciate you reaching out, and I really hope that you take this to heart, that at the end of the day, you building a relationship and showing who you really are will go 10 times further than any process change, personnel change, or business objective you put out there. Bar none. You can keep pushing and try and fix the symptoms, but until you get to the root cause, which is you. I'm really not trying to be mean when I say that, but it's you. That's the crux of it, is you as the leader set the tone for how good people can be. And if you're not being your authentic self and owning all of your shortcomings and your failures and your mistakes, your growth opportunities throughout your entire career, if you're not doing that, you're shorting your teams. You're making your teams worse. Be the leader in the trenches and saying, I've been here, I've been through the pain, I've made mistakes, I've made failures. Follow me. I will support you through your failures. I'll help you grow through those mistakes. I'll help you do all this stuff. And if you do that, you will build teams that are successful every single time. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, hit me up at jason@leadfromhere.co. If you like what you're hearing, please, like, subscribe, follow. I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, be vulnerable. Tell people what you've learned. That's it. You just gotta be honest. You gotta be who you are. Be authentic every single time. Take care.